Hey folks, thanks for joining. Let's just do a quick sound check if that's okay. If you can go to the questions box, please, and just say, hey Nick, we can hear you, we can see you. Perfect. Awesome. Anyone in SoCal today with our ridiculous heat wave? You are seen and heard. I feel seen and heard. Thanks, Jen. This is, it's a big crowd when there's a Jeremy, a Jessica, and a Jen all that respond, and we got lots of J's. So it's going to be a great group. We're technically supposed to start in 1 minute. We're going to start in 3 minutes. We're going to start at 2:02. Just letting people come in, especially with GoTo having changed their entire technology like a week ago. So let's make sure, let's hope everyone can get in. But hey, folks, if this is the first time you're joining an exclusive webinar, and you know who you are, please go to the questions box and introduce yourself. It's a bit of a tradition that we have here. We have a webinar about every 2 weeks, and hopefully you join for many, many more. Most of you are repeat audience members, so thanks for coming back. But for those of you who are not, what's your name? What company are you dialing in from? See who the first bold person will be. Just not afraid to say their name in the questions box. Got Ivan, president of Bar Charts Publishing Inc. Oh, very cool. Got Paul from Banks Vacuum, Jessica for round 2. All right. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Anyone else new to the group here? Got Jen from Pacific Cycle. Very cool. Jen, I'm assuming you're on the West Coast. Very curious to hear if everyone in SoCal is dealing with this crazy heat right now and how they're dealing with it. Oh, the Midwest. Right. Very cool. So, folks, you're wondering why we haven't started. We're just letting everyone stumble in through all this GoTo nonsense. It's a great technology, but every time they do a major update like this, you know, people are just waiting to get in. So, give them a few more moments. Jessica, yeah, at least we don't have snow. Kofi from Canada. Hey, Kofi, how are you? Very cool. And folks, while we wait to get started, again, if you are brand new here, this is the first time you're joining an exclusive webinar, please do introduce yourself. Lauren, the chat is private. I can see all the questions that come through. Got Chad from Market America, shop.com. Oh, very cool. Hey, Chad. And we have had a lot of extra people just log in. So thank you folks for joining. We said we get started at 2:02 and it is 2:02. So let's get started. We just want to kind of introduce everyone to this incredible branding era on the Amazon side. It's branding between 2 different parts, advocacy and awareness. And it's something that we've really focused on as an agency. We reach out to the platforms that we work in, and learning how all these platforms are willing to reach back about activities in the awareness and advocacy side has been a big change in 22. We just wanted to highlight how Amazon is doing this. So real quick intro of exclusive for those of you who are new here, and so many of you just introduced yourself. So we focus on helping brands achieve better performance, mostly on the growth side. If there needs to be some efficiency calibration, fine, but for the most part, people come to us because they want to grow much, much faster than they typically do. We have partnerships across the board. Happy to say we are a premier partner with Google. That means we're in the top 3%. We're also top 1% in terms of actual performance. Our partnerships in Amazon and BigCommerce and Klaviyo have all done so much for us and our clients. It's been phenomenal. Here's a handful of our clients just to get a sense of who we work with. We have a different department for everything we specialize in. So Amazon is a separate department. But if clients are working with us on Google Ads, social, and Amazon, that will all be coordinated by a strategist across 3 specializations. And that's basically how we work. Our technology helps bring all the data from every system into one. We basically just focus on growth and performance. That is our calling, and that's everything that we've optimized for the last 25 years. The technology that underpins everything is based on a warehouse. We collect all the data from every source available, including Amazon and Google Ads and Google Analytics, etc., in real time, and then connect those dots and report on them and find all the opportunities for growth in between, packaging all of that information into dashboards and workflows for our team sent to the right people, as well as alerts. Let's do a little bit about us, a little bit about myself. I'm the VP of Marketing Sciences here at Exclusive. I've been here for 14 years. I joined the company into the E team to help develop our solutions. First SEO, then Google Ads, conversion testing, email. I built our philosophy for strategy. I'm going to introduce you to our most updated philosophy of strategy today, and Amazon, of course. And now we've gone from a group of about 10 to, between our marketers, our content writers, and our data scientists, we're almost at 300, we're about 270 employees. So let's talk about Amazon. Let's take a look at what it seems that their intentions are at the moment. It's always nice to know a genesis story for a brand because it gives you a sense of the ethos and the way that these businesses kind of suss out opportunity. And it's helpful to know that Bezos has always kind of been just a guy who looks at the numbers, and wherever the trend is, that's where he goes, especially if there's a bit of a challenge or some opportunity to really fill in a vacuum. So in 95, when Bezos realized e-com was going to grow 2,300% per year, he said, okay, I'm going to leave finance, I'm going to go to commerce. And there are a few different categories he could have gotten into, but books was very challenging. There was a low unit price, there was lots of shifting market requirements, but there was a high repeat purchase rate. So getting customers would be kind of a lifetime thing. So interesting reasons why he got in. And he learned early on that there's nothing about his model that couldn't be copied. And this is basically the way he saw McDonald's, but he saw the McDonald's, as long as they built a brand that is much stronger than anyone else, they could still keep an edge even though anyone can make burgers. So not only has this kind of driven the Amazon growth trajectory, it also is highly relevant in how they're starting to unlock potential for the brands that sell on Amazon. Amazon, through a small program, changed to what it is today. There's an associates program where people could sell basically on Amazon and have a commission, and 350,000 sites joined it. And before you knew it, in the 2000s, they said, okay, well, we don't sell books, we sell everything from A to Z. That's why Amazon had the little smiley face going from A to Z. It basically means that they sell everything. And then in 2006, to help things along, they started fulfillment by Amazon. If you recall, before that, they never held inventory. This is essentially how Amazon has responded to things. For starters, it was the market, then it was their own data and programs that were successful. And now, as they stand along shoulder to shoulder with other giants, they've decided to react in so many different ways. Amazon really hasn't gone outside of their core flywheel philosophy. This is something that Bezos has had written down for a long time, that, you know, the inner cycle of the flywheel would be lots of selection, better customer experience for Amazon customers. That's entirely controlled by Amazon. And then traffic and sellers, that would continue to kind of virtuously grow. And then with a broader selection, they could have a lower cost structure and lower prices. That's the entire flywheel. And until now, Amazon basically allowed sellers to be involved in the selection part of the flywheel. Right? Now they're thinking, wait a second, shouldn't we let the sellers and all these contributors also help with customer experience, bring us traffic? We can reward them for that. And that's actually helping Amazon get to a different level. The blueprint was always there. They're just starting to get a little bit more diverse in what they allow sellers to help with. And part of the impetus now, just like when Bezos was looking at growth trajectories, new data has come in that basically people start their search on Amazon, but then they go elsewhere. They compare prices on Walmart. They find new products on Google or on Instagram. And this ecosystem and success that Amazon has created as the first place to go has started to bleed outside because people are looking for influencers to recommend things. They want better branded experiences. They want videos to engage with. They basically want things that they typically would find outside of Amazon. So Amazon's getting a little nervous here and thinking about, well, how can we bring that all into the ecosystem then? So they're basically switching their model to focus on all those functions within the Amazon ecosystem. So like Google, that launched discovery ads, where you could just copy your Facebook ads into discovery ads and start to do basically Facebook ads on Google. Amazon's done something similar. They want to make it easy for you to sell a product to women who recently found out they're pregnant by doing target marketing and building awareness. Well, the same type of things that Facebook can do and Google can do, they want to do it too. And they're also thinking about advocacy, right? It's kind of crazy. You've got the TikTokers and the Snapchatters and the Instagrammers, and they are making brands successful, and then the people come from those sources into Amazon and buy. Well, can't all those people just live inside Amazon? It's ambitious, but that's what they're doing. So what are they doing in terms of total innovation? For a while, they've been trying to reach out to brands and say, we know that we used to be the wild, wild west, like eBay is currently, counterfeits, etc. Come to Amazon, we will protect your brand better than anyone else. We'll even do an IP accelerator to improve protections faster. And we have this SVU style counterfeit crimes unit and go out there and find anyone who's ripping you off. So pretty attractive to brands. It's not like anyone else is saying that they're willing to do this. So Amazon gets that. That's building the trust with brands. But then they want to give control back to the brand as well. Okay, you can create A+ content, which is that nice rich content on your pages that's been around forever. Sponsored brands, you can have an ad at the top of Amazon search. That's helpful. You can create a store with an immersive experience. You can even get great analytics. But they also wanted to make sure it was easy to have a display network that could be used for you to push your brand out to the right people. And 82%, this is a weird thing to read, 82% of advertisers who use sponsored display ads see up to 82% of their sales driven by new to brand customers. So the numbers are the same, but that's just what the numbers us talk to. People are using product targeting to get higher engagement. And I'm reading this out because I know it's a little hard to see this, but the new product targeting, which I'll get into as well, also has a 75% better click-through rate. On the influencer side, Amazon has decided to do exactly what I just suggested. Why don't we go to the top TikTokers, top Instagrammers, top YouTubers, everyone, we'll choose who they are. We will declare that they are an influencer, and they can come on to Amazon. We will create a page for them. They can have a whole section where they promote products and videos and things like that. And the sales that come through it, we're going to pay these people for it. What does Amazon have? Traffic and money. So all these influencers that are spending all their time on TikTok and Instagram are making okay money are going to make some pretty good cash now on Amazon. And Amazon is taking this pretty seriously. Whether you're looking at Founded on Amazon, which is at the top of the screen on desktop, it's also on the mobile app. You can get into these immersive experiences, and the influencers can post their videos on your products. So when someone's looking at your product page, an influencer's video is sitting on top of all the other reviews. So this is pretty straightforward social commerce. And a brand can also do kind of an influencer-like experience as well if they want to. They can launch live streams and have really high engagement and become kind of a self-influencer. So with all this, is Amazon just a search engine anymore? I mean, is there any point to just go to Amazon and do product ads when all these other things are available? Or do you need something that guides you towards a broader set of principles? Basically, now that you can do everything that you do for your website in Amazon, you got to treat Amazon with the same functionality as your website. Typically, we think in funnels, right? The reason we think in funnels is because St. Elmo Lewis in the late 1800s introduced a funnel and basically said, as marketers, there are all these steps that happen before the sale, and we've got to make sure that activity happens in all those. And we have to bring kind of momentum downwards. A chain event from people who are in the awareness bucket to interest, another chain event from interest to desire, desire to action. In the e-com era, every e-com guru out there uses either awareness, interest, desire, action, or an advocacy, or awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy as a funnel. Basically assuming that the moment someone becomes an advocate, that's the end of it. They won't buy from you again. Doesn't make sense. They go back up funnel. Don't look at it as a person's journey. This is a challenge. Don't look at it, marketing it as trying to drive an individual to a journey, but rather as activities that are happening at different phases. Then you can embrace an even better model. And like Amazon and HubSpot, the better model is not a funnel, but a flywheel. We hear this term all the time, Amazon's flywheel. We just saw what their flywheel looks like. What exactly is a flywheel? A flywheel is a model that says somewhere in the chain of events that we do, that we control, activity leads to activity, leads to activity, leads to activity, leads to the end that starts more activity back again. It's called a virtuous cycle. But the more you do it, the more it builds upon itself. And the faster and the bigger it gets, not only are you growing faster, but you can lose part of that wheel for a little while and it will replenish itself. It'll heal itself. So the framework that we should now use has to adhere a little bit to the funnel ideas, a little bit to the flywheel, but also a bunch of other natural laws. Like Einstein's axioms, there are natural laws of marketing. And here are some, just imagine these. There are several phases of activity, like awareness, and marketing can influence how much activity is happening in awareness. Any phase can generate momentum in the entire activity cycle. The more people that find out about you, they will eventually want to buy from you. Those people will buy from you again. They will become advocates. Activity from each phase can be measured uniquely. If you look at awareness and you're just looking at profitability of awareness, it may not be as good as people who are cart abandoners. A slightly different way of looking at it. Maybe impressions and click-through rate is a better way of looking at it. Activity from one phase always generates activity in the next. If a lot of people are considering buying from you, then a lot of people will buy from you. And some phases are market driven. Other phases grow faster than the market, and I will explain that part. But think about this framework. You as a company, us as marketers, we influence the amount of awareness people have for your brand. If someone searches for something in your category and you show up because of Amazon or Google Shopping, whatever it is, that's the consideration activity that's happening right now. People are considering buying from you. If they engage until they buy, from the start of engagement till they buy, they are part of the conversion activity. All this activity hopefully will suss out into a lot of sales. When someone does buy, now they're in the loyalty activity. They may buy from you again. And even if they have not bought from you yet, they are still in the loyalty phase until they buy again. And all the people that love you, all the people that don't love you, everything they say about you is advocacy. And this becomes a virtuous activity cycle because advocacy once again leads to more awareness. When you show up in Amazon search and you focus on great user experience and you get past customers to buy again, this is fairly all still market driven. Those are actions people are willing to take today. But the more people that know about you today, and the more people that talk about you today, the faster you will grow than anyone else in your market. This is what creates the alpha. Not like, hunting prey. An alpha just means you are faster growing than the market. So we are going to get into tons of details on everything Amazon has created for awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy. But before we show you what they built and how to use it, just want to get a sense of, do you feel like there's a certain part of your Amazon strategy that is underinvested right now? And you can choose multiple, by the way. This is already playing out exactly the way it actually is. Thank you guys for being honest. I'm going to close this out in 3, 2, 1. Let's look at this together. So 43% of you are not actually doing display ads or building awareness within Amazon before someone searches. That's what it sounds like. 59% of you are doing nothing with advocacy. Consideration and conversion are the focus that most people have put into their Amazon, which is why they're lower. And that makes perfect sense. Fantastic. Before we get into all the tips on the VAC framework, just want to let you guys know on the 23rd, we're doing a really big webinar with BigCommerce and Klaviyo. It was our pretty much most attended webinar of the year last year. But we're basically going to take all the metrics that people currently follow or have classically / traditionally followed and challenge whether they still make sense and give slight corrections or something that is dramatically better to look at. We're trying to reestablish what we think all e-com businesses should look at in terms of the key 10 metrics for 22. If you go to tinyurl.com/10 metrics, you can go sign up right now. There are a lot of people already signing up, so yeah, if you can just take that note down. And tips to supercharge the virtuous activity cycle. So again, awareness is more targeted people knowing about you, right? So let's go through a few different options here. So product targeting is when you've done your research and you identify on a product by product basis of your products, what other products exist in Amazon that are starting to nip at your coattails. Maybe they're the leaders in terms of overall momentum, but you're mapping product by product, every product that you want to show up on. And you actually show up on those product pages. Probably the most underutilized aspect of display is that, like custom intent audiences or like layers in Facebook with lookalike, people are not using Amazon's display target, right? 43% of you say awareness is not really happening. You can target people who are in your category and have been searching. You can find people who have a general lifestyle that, you have a product that is perfect for foodies. You can actually choose lifestyles. If you end up searching for lots of gardening products, for example, once you hit a critical threshold, you become a part of an interest group. And these are the people who really are going to be the early adopters in your market. And Amazon can also try to figure out life events, like if someone is traveling soon. So knowing the psychographic and demographic targets that you've already coordinated on your Facebook, in your branding mapping, on your website, how you created your products, you could also set targets on display. DSP is a much larger form of display advertising. It's basically using everything that's available to Amazon, all the way to Amazon Prime TV, as a way for you to get a lot of ad visibility out there. And what's interesting about Amazon's programmatic compared to a lot of programmatic technologies out there is it does seem like they've done a good job of connecting the dots fairly well back to your revenue numbers. And here's an example. Samsung set through the DSP network their targets. They created a TV meant for B2B businesses like restaurants. So they chose to only target B2B. They chose the SEC targets or SIC targets that they wanted to target. And then they used this simple video creative builder tool that Amazon has put together, where you just upload a few different things and you're done in no time. It's like creating responsive ads in Google, where you just put your video, image, but a few bits of text, and Google figures out the rest. DSP is almost identical. For consideration, of course, consideration is where most of you spend the majority of your effort. Only 23% of you think that there is room for improvement. Well, let's challenge that just a little bit. As we know, there are 3 main ad types that show up in the SERP. There's the sponsored brand, there's the sponsored products, and then sponsored video. Over time, from 2018 till last year, we've seen that sponsored products as a percentage has gone down quite a bit. Sponsored brands has climbed, and that includes video. And sponsored display has gone from 0% to 1 and then doubled again to 2. So clearly not a lot of people using one of the best tools in Amazon on the display side, but a huge adoption of sponsored brands, which includes sponsored videos. Top tips to make sure that your video, when it shows up, and there's only gonna be one video, has a higher conversion rate. The reason you want a high conversion rate is because you only pay cost per click with these videos. So if you've already done everything you need to get someone pumped about buying the product, then when they click and you finally pay, there's a higher conversion rate. Currently, video outpaces all other ad types for our clients. So at the highest level, there's this litmus test. Your content should be educational, demonstrative, and product focused. You should obviously show your product. Don't create too many lifestyle distractions. Keep it brief and focused for 15 to 30 seconds. Make sure that you know what the view looks like when you have sound on, when you have full screen, etc. And then watch the loop. Don't just upload once. Make sure the loop is nice and clean. Also on the consideration phase, when you're running automatic campaigns, make sure that you don't put all your products together in one ad. Amazon will not tell you what keywords to which product had what performance if there's too many products in an ad. They will just tell you what the ad to keyword performance is. So if you really want to know the performance of a product and a keyword, every single product must have its own separate ad. This is called OPA structures, one product per ad. Then you actually get keyword to ID data. Remember always that when you pay for a keyword for a product and you actually make sales, then you create the sales velocity chain. And when Amazon sorts by which products have the most sales from people typing in that keyword, that's how the rankings work. If you've proven through paid ads, you will be rewarded with the top spot. If you are paying for a keyword and it's not working, you're not helping yourself in any way. And then watching the combined impact of early stage visibility on organic to paid is when you're going to finally start to see your advertising cost of sale come within the right pocket. Here's a screenshot of our ranking technology that we use for all of our Amazon accounts. So we scrape Amazon for our clients for target keywords. If you're going to pay for ranking, then you might as well know exactly how much of a ranking you have. So for every term that we track, we see the current ranking versus the peak, the number of ASINs that are showing up for that keyword that you guys own, how much sponsored spend is still going into that keyword in the last 7 days, and then what the cost per click is. This way you can finally naturally find the balance between your paid and your organic. One of the last things I want to cover on the consideration side is with last year's algorithm, Amazon's algorithm going from A9 to A10, they added a new component. They basically said, if you bring sales into Amazon, right, go back to that flywheel, if a seller brings in traffic and sales, then the product that you brought traffic and sales to will rank better organically in Amazon. We're going to gift you that. So Google Ads listened and said, okay, well, if you want, you can create a search ad in Google Ads, point it to an Amazon page, and we will actually track how many Amazon sales you made. All of this is pretty new advent. And it allows you to rank better. It allows you to have more cross-channel marketing. It's pretty phenomenal, and not enough people are doing it. Last thing on the consideration side is knowing when you're supposed to go up category. So far too often, advertisers and sellers on Amazon get complacent with the highest search volume term that they will go after in ads or try to rank for. But they've done such a good job there. They have so many reviews. They have so much momentum. They should start dropping qualifiers. And when you drop qualifiers from a term, the benefit is these up category opportunities are typically much greater in volume. Of all the things you can do to dramatically improve your consideration activity, finding up category opportunities is probably one of the best. Conversion. How do we make sure that with all that consideration traffic to the page, we can create a chain event from consideration to conversion? First, make sure your bullets are marketing friendly and don't read like they were written by an engineer. That's simple. If you can read your reviews that people have shared and compare that, or even derive your bullets from that, even better. If all of your value propositions are in your enhanced content or A+ content, assume very few people are looking at that. Because you have to go all the way down to the page and we find that sometimes it looks funny on mobile, but everyone looks at images. So years ago, Amazon just started putting text and value props into their own images, hoping that everyone caught on. There are some amazing storefronts out there. And when you're running branded ads and display ads, your maybe Google search ads to this storefront, you have a lot of control now. You have control on placement of product, the usage of images. In this case, this is a beautiful video. Spacing is in your control, and of course, just natural balance of classic design. This was the award winner recently for Best Storefront. The beautiful design, so clean, makes you actually feel like you're in a totally different website. So, last thing on the conversion side is between your bullets, the description, you got some ads, which A+ content, but right before people get to reviews, now there's a whole bar for video reviews. And you can ask influencers to create videos. Your customers can create videos on their own, and you can create videos to control some of the narrative. And you should. Video usage is going to skyrocket. I've already changed all my habits on Amazon. I basically don't even read reviews anymore. I only check out the videos, and I don't think I'm going to be alone. Loyalty. Amazon allows you to target your past visitors to your page and your past customers and people who are buying from your competitors, which is a little bit more awareness. But if they're buying repeat in something that you can kind of come into, that's pretty great. But for core loyalty, you can actually target past visitors to your pages. You also can try to drive more subscribe and save. The subscribe and save clearly is a nice gimmick. You'd love to be part of it to get all those repeat purchases. But how hard have you tried and why? The main reason to even try is the quality of the buyers. So more than half of Amazon Prime users actually use subscribe and save. 75% of subscribe and save users prefer Amazon over any other store. 70% of them will pay much higher numbers on average order value, over 100 per product. And 61% of subscribe and save users buy on Amazon at least once every week. So if you just want to cut out the least attractive part of Amazon users and just focus on the most attractive, add a subscribe and save option. On the advocacy part, there's a lot of new guides that are coming out, and maybe we'll cover this as a complete guide. But there's no easy way to reach out to someone through the Amazon platform once you've decided that you found 10 different influencers that seem to be covering your space really well, and they all have pages on Amazon. So what you want to do is try to find out of the other platforms, are they strongest in TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, and try to DM them there. You probably need to DM them on a daily basis until they respond. They're getting inundated with requests. And if you need to create some kind of commission structure or compensation, the sooner you let them know about it, the better. Amazon also released an amazing reviews response tool at the end of last year. So if you have a review that was between a 1 and 3 star, and it was placed within the last 6 months, you can go through and actually respond to that particular review. And you can refund or replace, you can clarify product issues, you can try to manage that from a 1 star to a 5 star. I couldn't do that before. And just plugging something that we developed on our side that has been really helpful for us and helpful for our clients. We have a review reporting system where we go through and analyze all the trends on your product ratings. So tracking star rating per product, average star rating, and growth. And then developing plans based on this new set of data around bid optimizations, case management, and if there is a product that is really starting to emerge and it doesn't have enough ad spend behind it, but the reviews are phenomenal, you always want to create chain events. If advocacy is strong, put that product into an awareness and consideration path. You need to push from one phase into the next. So I'm going to go to questions. Before I do, just want to put some opportunities out there. So if anyone is looking for an agency that can either help them be more holistic and more VAC focused on Amazon, or you want someone who can do all the websites or Google Ads, organic, conversion testing, email, SMS, social, and Amazon, well, we start off by first taking a crack at putting together a plan for you. Basically asking ourselves, how do we think your business should grow? We go through a few different tests. We first got to do like the $1 million question. Well, do we invest $1 million of our money into your business? This is like looking at your history, your founders, what makes you special, what segments you're targeting, and how much competition there is. Then we choose some competitors to look at. And we see, is anyone growing faster than you? How are you growing compared to the market? What are your X factors? What are their X factors? How much is everyone spending on Google Ad spend? What does the organic presence look like? We start making recommendations for distribution of effort, for awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy, and how we map that out to each of the channels. We look at how your overall visibility profile can be improved for consideration and loyalty. So when people type in your brand, are you defending it? Someone types in your competitor, are you conquesting? And for all the discovery terms, how are you doing? How are you doing on Google Shopping, Google Search, organic for Google, organic for Amazon, and Amazon Pay? We believe that when you show ads, those ads should adhere to consumer behavior science, which gets people to act and make decisions faster. Part of that is temperaments and personas. So we recommend a temperament/persona strategy for you, as well as try to figure out what we think the cognitive recall and affect recall story should be for your brand. We will study all of your competitors' social, as well as yours, all your competitors' emails, as well as yours, using a tool called build.com, and make recommendations there. And finally, we'll walk you through an extensive demo of all our reporting and all of our business insights technologies, put together a breakdown of what your team structure, our meeting structure, our onboarding plan is going to be, as well as our fee structure. So before we go to questions, just asking, and we don't charge you guys for this, by the way. Are you looking for a free growth plan? I'm going to be on probably 50+% of those meetings as well. I look forward to meeting you guys. So thank you for taking the time to answer this. And if you said maybe, we'll reach out and answer any question that you have, including fees and things like that. Jeremy just asked, how do your fees work? I will answer that in our next slide. I'm going to close this in 3, 2, 1. And thank you folks for taking the time to answer. And QA, let me just read these questions. How does the cost of sponsored display ads compare to sponsored product ads? From an ACoS perspective, display ads and sponsored ads are pretty close neck and neck for most of our accounts. I see a lot of competitor videos at the bottom of my product pages. Is there a way to remove those, or at least have mine appear first? I'll ask someone on our Amazon team if they've come across that a solution for that. It's a great question. I personally don't know the answer to it. How do your fees work for Amazon? Any advertising that we manage, whether it's Google or Amazon or Facebook, there's a base that covers most of our fees and our meeting structures and whatnot, and then a percentage of that spend. And then for anything that's more like project-based, where we're doing a lot of work each month, but it's kind of confined to a certain amount of work, SEO, email, SMS, those are monthly rates. You mentioned display ads being underutilized. In my experience, they've always performed worst from an ACoS ROAS standpoint for 3 different brands I've worked for. Anything that you do to bring more performance. So great question. I think to put that into perspective, a lot of accounts drive towards a phenomenal ACoS, and they're used to a really great ACoS being advertising cost to sale. But when we look under the hood, the main reason that that's happening is because the ads are focused on brand keywords. right? That's where the best ACoS comes from. If you want to start launching display that is around that same ACoS, you would focus on past visitors to your page. If you are ready to increase your ACoS to dramatically increase your overall sales, then you're going to go after more consideration and more awareness, then start to utilize display targeting, but be really focused on using the qualifiers. But there's always a relationship between ACoS and overall growth. The most conservative approach is super low ACoS, mostly focused on your brand keywords. Your competitors typically grow much faster than you. What is considered a good ACoS? Great question, Kathy. It really depends on the greatest point of bifurcation is, are you a reseller or are you the manufacturer? So until the big direct-to-consumer movement that happened in 2015, before that, most of our clients for 18 years, see, we've been doing this for 25 years, most of our clients were resellers. And resellers who sell on Amazon typically are working off of a remaining ACoS or a remaining margin after starting maybe 25%, giving 15% to Google or to Amazon. They're left with maybe 10, 15% margin left on every sale. And they may not have a brand that's very popular, so they really have to actually show up for the product searches, not their own brand. In that case, we try to maintain a sub 10% ACoS while having our clients constantly add more products and expand our arbitrage opportunities while carefully monitoring price points, margin, and buy box. For clients that are part of the direct-to-consumer world, where their natural margin after COGS is somewhere between 60 and 80%, of which after shipping and whatnot and Amazon, they may lose 20% of that. They're still left with somewhere between 40 and 60% of margin. If those businesses are operating on an ACoS of 10 to 15%, then most likely they're only focused on the brand spillover to Amazon that they're trying to capture, meaning the brand is building followers, those people search on Amazon, hey, can I find this on Amazon? And you take this in. For brands that have all that fat margin, that want to become the dominant player in Amazon, they're probably working off an ACoS more in the 25% to 30% pocket. How long does it take for your ACoS to come down from improved organic exposure on a newly advertised item? Depends on what the sales velocity between that keyword and that product is. That's testing the product market fit, as well as how much of a stronghold the rest of your competition has. So basically, are you welcome in the market or not? And how much are you trying to disrupt? Those are two major factors. But I would suggest that instead of looking at that from an ACoS perspective, which classically is the relationship between advertising-led sales and advertising cost, I would switch to tacos, not to make anyone hungry, but tacos is the total sales you make in Amazon versus all your advertising costs. That starts to accommodate the organic exposure better. You didn't speak to A+ content as being an opportunity for more awareness. Would you recommend showing other products within your brand there? Yeah, I see what you're saying. In the A+ content, some brands are allowed to show multiple products in their A+ content. Not everyone has that capability. But in that case, should you compare and contrast? Yeah, it depends what you're selling. But if you have multiple variations by color or bundles or standard price, premium price, and discount price options, then yes. you probably want to do that. Would I consider that awareness? No, that would be part of the conversion activity. Still, people are engaging. You're creating better ways for that engagement to lead to more sales. A+ content and enhanced content, though, on the whole, is not as successful as we wish it would be, especially as more users have gone from desktop to mobile. Can you target competition so your video ads show up at a competitor's listings? Yes. Amazon created the philosophy of conquesting, where you can choose to target a competitor's keywords. The example I shared, where I said in the SERP, you can have brand ads, product ads, and video. That video ad was a competitor conquesting against one of their competitors. Web Expertos just gave some advice that the sound quality is not great. I appreciate that. I have a paralyzed vocal cord, so my voice comes from one vocal cord. So I already have kind of a duller voice. I typically use a headset. Unfortunately, my headset was not working today. So understood. We've tested lots of different microphones. At the moment, this is the option that we have to run with, but constantly trying new things there. Thank you for the feedback. We'll keep testing new things as well. But folks, I hope this was helpful. Any feedback you guys have, please share it. Looks like a lot of you have asked to meet, so can't wait to meet you. And in the meanwhile, be safe, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, everyone. And BigCommerce Klaviyo webinar. Once again, it's let's show that one more time. Last thing you do before you go, that is tinyurl.com/10metrics. We'll see you on that, folks. Bye, everyone. Thank you.